So I'm going to take a couple of minutes here and show you how to strip your doors. There's a bunch of little screws that are down here on the bottom. There are two screws that are holding on to the handle right here. And there's a little screw that hides right in there also that you got to make sure that you get out. That one there's always the one that's hiding on you, and you don't find out about it until you try to pull the panel off. You're also going to have to take your door lock button thing off. And then sometimes these will just spin and spin, so you lift it while you're unscrewing it and it'll come off. Now that all the screws are on out of there, I can go ahead and pull this out a bit like this, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull up. You'll notice that the handle's still stuck in there, so you kind of got to work with all of that. And you got to be relatively careful with them because these can get pretty old and brittle over time. So that's off of there just like that. Next thing I want to do is I want to take off this one little trim piece right here. So I'm going to go ahead and roll the window down all the way. And then I'll be able to take that out of there easier. And I want to save this if I can. These are actually pretty good. I actually did a video on this truck with Brothers Trucks showing how to redo your interior and such. You might want to look those up. So I'm going to save this if I can. So first I'm just going to gently pull this back here. And I don't want to get too physical with it because I can do damage to the door and I can do damage to the clips that are on this upper rubber piece here. So I'll need to find where the clip is. I'll put a spatula in here so that I don't get any scratches on my paint. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this right in the clip. And I'm going to push in there. And what it's going to do is it's going to make that clip pop out. Now when I get this out of here, I'll give you a little bit better look at what's going on. And okay, so now with them all off there, I can just gently pull these on out. So what's happening here is it's these clips right here. And these are normally squished down more like that. And that's how it clips into the door. So we get something like this, and we put it in there, and then when we push in, it's going to open the clip up, and now you'll be able to take it out of the door a lot easier. So we were able to save this one. It's in good shape still. Just need to clean it up some. I'll go ahead and push these clips down. And we'll check to make sure that we didn't do any damage to any of these right here. These little slots that it fits into. A lot of times what happens is they'll get pulled out when you are trying to take it out, and you're going to want to make sure you push it back in, because if it's pulled out when you put in the next one, it's going to push against the window, and it's going to make it more difficult for you to take out. So with that out of there, now I can take this rubber out. And this is also in good shape because, again, we did a video on it. But I want to be careful because it can rip and tear when you try to take it out. This style here is a little bit different, where the whole piece comes entire like that. Normally you get this piece and then this piece separately. But in that particular year or that manufacturer, that's what we're getting. So we want to take this off right here. It's held on by 7/16 bolts, and you might be tempted to leave it on, but this will gouge into your guts and cut you all up. So definitely take these off the door when you're working on them. Now what I like to do when I'm doing something like this is I'll make sure that I'll loosen up one bolt and then I'll loosen up the other bolt. And the reason that I'm doing that is I don't want to take all the bolts out of something like this and then find my last bolt is rusted in there. So I'll make sure that everybody's nice and loose first. If I do have a rusty bolt, I'll go ahead and take care of it while all the other bolts are still in there, and I don't have to worry about whatever piece falling off while I'm working on that. I'm going to go ahead and leave this in for right now. So there is a channel that goes right back here that helps the glass stay in line. And we're going to want to take that channel off. There's a little screw right here that holds it on. And you'll notice I take the bottom one off first, because if I take the bottom one off first, the piece isn't going to go anywhere. Now I can go ahead and hold on to this rear channel, and I can take my top bolt off. If I take my top bolt off first, then sometimes the channel will fall forward and get damaged and such, so we don't want to do that. Now that I got this off, I can go ahead and just gently put it to the bottom of the door. I really want to let it fall because it might do damage to the door. So with that done and out of the way, now what I can do is I can take my window here, my glass, and I'll roll this up just a hair. Now I can bring this back. And I'm bringing this back so I can take my vent window off. I'll go ahead and bring it down again. And this is just held on by some screws right here on top. And sometimes what will happen is those will get rusted in a little bit. So what we're going to do, just a little tap in there, that usually breaks your rust off. And now I can go ahead and get this guy out. So I'll just loosen that up a little bit while I make sure these other ones are not going to give me a problem. The one on the very bottom, you'll need to get a shorter. And the right here and right here, there's these funny kind of like, I don't know, I guess washers I'd call them. And you have to be careful because they will fall out just like that one did, and they'll get lost. And that's what that looks like. The screw fits in there just like that. So make sure you don't lose these things, because it is really easy to lose these things. And once this is out here, and I don't lose this one either, I can take these bolts off here. Technically, I should have done these first, really. Going by the bottom bolt first rule. But this thing's pretty stuck in here generally, and it's not going to come banging around loose normally. These are generally 7/16, but you'll also find Phillips head style. You'll find different things in there because over the years, people have been working on the truck and doing odd little things and putting in weird little nuts here and there. Now this right here, there's a little screw that's in there. Sometimes it's missing over the years because a lot of times people don't put this back in because there's a clip that's back here and it breaks and it's hard to put in after the door's already assembled and everything. But you really want to do your best to make sure that you get this screw back in, because what it does is it gives more stability to the door right here. In the past, when they didn't have these screws, you would get more stress cracks and stuff right in here. So that's more than likely what's going to happen in the future if you don't put that screw back in. So now I can go ahead and, oh, well, we got the one at the top still. I'll just pull on this gently here. It's got stuff in there. And the trick to pulling this out is that you got to go 90 degrees like this. Then you got to pull it out. And that's why you got to do the 90 degrees, because it is not going to come out of the door if you don't do that. So that's on out of there. Taking the glass out, I technically don't do this correctly because it's difficult. Normally you have to get this just in the right spot and then you can slip it off and such, but I somehow just never be able to get that down. So what I do is I crank this guy all the way up to the top, and then you'll notice that there's kind of like a little pocket here, a little hole. And what we're going to do is we're going to slide this all the way forward so this wheel lines up on that. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull the glass off of there and then slide it off the rest of the way. But this is a bit difficult, so it might take me a minute. Okay, there we go. And now I can slide the rear wheel off and we're all good. So that's how you take it all apart. Class is every day from noon to 5. Come on down, get up off that couch, you lazy son of a bitch, and get some work done, man.